Here's our CoinDesk Bitcoin News Roundup. John J. Ray III, the new CEO of FTX, saying the insolvent crypto exchange suffered from, quote, complete failure of corporate controls and, quote, a complete absence of trustworthy financial information under Sam Bankman-Fried's leadership. In a bankruptcy filing, Ray revealing software was used to, quote, conceal the misuse of customer funds, and sister firm Alameda Research was given a secret exemption from FTX's auto liquidation protocols. FTX is looking to recover $372 million in unauthorized transfers made the day the company filed for bankruptcy. Ray took aim at FTX's former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried for making erratic and misleading public sentiments, his words, regarding FTX and his personal attempts to raise money for customers, saying Bankman-Fried is not employed by the debtors, does not speak for them. Right, joining us now with her stellar reporting is CoinDesk Deputy Managing Editor Tracy Wang. Tracy, great to have you on the show. So FTX's new boss previously supervised financial scandals like Enron, which a lot of folks are comparing the demise and collapse of FTX to. And he criticized FTX for poor record keeping and a lack of experience among senior managers, among other things. What are the key takeaways that you took from the bankruptcy filing?
Yeah, I think, I read through the day one affidavit that John Ray put out, and I think it's pretty damning. This is somebody who is a real adult. He was the one in charge of the Enron bankruptcy. And for him to say that this is probably the worst case he's seen in his career is pretty damning for FTX.
Yeah, he's had a solid 4-decade career. So Sam Bankman-Fried told Vox he regrets filing for bankruptcy. We did see the first filing was quite hasty last Friday. What is the purpose of this filing?
I think the day one affidavit is just kind of, taking stock of the situation. It's only been, many times in the filing, John Ray says that, this is the information that he has right now. And one thing that he noted multiple times is when referring to balance sheets of the 4 FTX group entities is that, these were balance sheets that were managed by Sam Bankman-Fried, and there were no controls. There is a little paper trail, and he notes very clearly in the filings that, this might not be accurate.
Interesting. The court documents also revealed that Alameda Research had a secret exemption from the crypto exchange's liquidation procedures. How did that work?
Now, that is one sentence, certainly under a lot of scrutiny. And I think this goes back to the issue between FTX and Alameda and the nature of their relationship, which we don't have more details on. But for the, there was always speculation that Alameda and FTX had, perhaps an improper relationship. And there are reasons why in traditional finance, a market maker and exchange typically are not owned by, the same founder. And having a market maker on your own exchange raises a lot of ethical questions. And so, some of the possible relationships that are bad is, if Alameda had access to FTX user exchange data, or if they were able to, get loans from FTX. And obviously, this new revelation that Alameda was exempt from FTX's liquidation engine might mean that they had preferential trading, some type of preferential trading access to FTX that is definitely not good.
Yeah, this was always suspected of the relationship between Alameda Research and FTX, but it was always denied by Sam. So really interesting to see this coming from John Ray. So FTX is looking.
And one thing I'll note with that is that, a lot of the revelations right now, people don't know if this was something that Sam Bankman-Fried did in the haste of a moment. Perhaps maybe Alameda lost some money in Luna, but if it's true that Alameda had this type of relationship with FTX going back before that, it certainly does not bode well for Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, also the filing says FTX is looking to recover $372 million in unauthorized transfers. Now, this was an interesting development over the weekend. Hacken, a cybersecurity firm that we spoke to, said that they actually identified who the user was and that they had a personal account on Kraken. So the folks at Kraken have also said they know who the user is and an announcement will be made. But do we know anything further about that?
I think there are rumors circulating about the nature of the hack. It could be, a black hat, a white hack, an insider job, even potentially. And we unfortunately do not know more, but we do know that, this is just another wild event that has occurred in this whole FTX saga. The fact that this company Friday morning filed for bankruptcy and then Friday evening, people on Twitter noticed that funds were missing and then realized that now FTX was getting hacked after all of that. That is truly not something you see every day.
Yeah, I think it goes to speak to the haste and the recklessness going on in the company right now. Alameda Research, the venture capital and sister trading firm of FTX, made $4.1 billion in loans to related parties, including $1 billion for former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, according to the bankruptcy filings. Do we know what these loans were used for?
That is something that we do not know, and the liquidators are trying very hard to figure out the paper trail. We do know that Sam Bankman-Fried, was doing a lot using his own personal money. We know that he was a large Politico donor. We know that he had personally bought, vast number of shares, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Robinhood stock. He had personally backed some venture capital, non-crypto venture investments, like $500 million to Anthropic AI, which is an AI research firm. And so it remains to be seen if, some of the monies that went to that was actually taken from Alameda, and if it was taken from Alameda, did Alameda also get those funds as a loan from FTX? And so it's not only another thing that's really interesting is kind of how these different entities, Alameda, FTX US, also kind of made loans among themselves.
John Ray also had some specific things to say about Sam Bankman-Fried. Maybe you could tell us a bit about that and what it says about the relationship Sam Bankman-Fried has with FTX now?
I think, Sam Bankman-Fried has been tweeting some pretty erratic tweets over the past couple of days. And John Ray, in his affidavit, basically kind of, disowned Sam. He reiterated that he is now the CEO. Sam has resigned. And I think he also mentioned Sam has hinted on his conversation with this Vox reporter that one thing he regrets was filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And we read in the affidavit that, it seemed like there was some convincing that needed to be done for Sam to go forward with the Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It seems like Sam might still be in a state of denial. And I think John Ray was saying that, Sam, he is not involved, John Ray is the one in charge now.
Right. Sam has been saying that he's going to try to raise money to help make customers whole. But again, Ray was trying to say he's not speaking for the debtors there. What are the next steps, Tracy, finally, before we get going?
It's hard to say. I know that these bankruptcies can sometimes take years to unwind. I think right now what John Ray and his team is doing is trying to figure out where all the funds are. And another thing that was important to note in the affidavit was that prior to this, FTX had no type of governance. They didn't have quarterly meetings. They didn't have a board of directors. And John Ray has also appointed four, superstar former CFTC, former federal agents that will be in charge of each of the four buckets. So Alameda, FTX.com, FTX US, and FTX Ventures.